He will glove it, throw to Rizzo. It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series. The Cubs have done it. The longest drought in the history of American sports is over, and the celebration begins.
For the first time ever, the Emis Catullus sign on Sheffield reads all zeros. The Cubs are the defending World Series champs for the first time since 1908. Hi, everybody. Welcome into our Cubs preview presented by GMC. I'm David Kaplan with my brand new co-host this year on Cubs pre- and post-game live each and every game here on CSN. My man, David DeJesus. Welcome back to town, buddy.
I'm excited to be back.
Yeah, good to have you here. All right, the Cubs come off of this unthinkable season. They win the World Series. There were expectations coming into this season, but I don't think anybody thought it would end the way it did. What's your take on now going into this season as defending champs?
No, there's definitely some pressure there, but they have leadership on this team. Guys that have been through it. Jason Heyward had a tough year, but you saw his leadership qualities shine in Game 7. So I'm not worried about this team. They're going to be okay.
All right, let's take a look at some of the off-season moves that Theo FC, Jed Hoyer and company made. Gone, Dexter Fowler, Aroldis Chapman, Jason Hamill, Jorge Soler, Travis Wood, Chris Coghlan, and David Ross are all gone from the team that won the World Series. New to the team, Wade Davis, Koji Uehara, Brian Dunsing, Brett Anderson, and outfielder John Jay. Let's start with replacing Dexter Fowler. One of the biggest challenges for this team is his leadership. He's a leadoff guy, good defender, and a huge guy in that locker room.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing, the locker room. You know, they're going to miss that guy because he brought everything. He was the total package, offensive, defensively, and teammate-wise. So replacing with these young guys, we'll see how they do, and we'll see how John Jay or Albert Almora does as well.
So Joe Maddon said to him, and he would say it all the time, you go, we go. So now you're asking Kyle Schwarber a lot of the time to be the leadoff guy. Now you're going to a lefty as opposed to a switch hitter. How tough is that transition you've led off in your career? How tough is it for Schwarber to be a leadoff guy having to follow that act?
You know, when I was playing, I was taught, let's see pitches. But I'm not a threat like Kyle is. He can put the ball out of the park in one pitch and one swing. So I think for him, he's just got to pick his pitches. Be aggressive on that pitch that's over the middle, and they'll be fine.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about the start of this lineup. Ben Zobrist, I'm sure, is going to get some opportunities to be at the top of the lineup. But when you have to face Schwarber, Bryant, Rizzo, that cannot be a comfortable way for a starting pitcher to begin his day.
No, you got to lock in from the first pitch because the game could be over in 3 pitches. So, you know, I'm excited to see the production from these guys, and that just turning the lineup over more and more, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and people say, well, but you're putting one of your best power hitters at the top of the lineup. But if you fast forward to 3rd inning, 4th inning, 5th inning, and beyond, you may have guys on base when it's Schwarber's turn to hit again.
Definitely. You're only leadoff hitter for the first at bat. Then, as the game goes on, you're just like anyone else, and you're hoping that guys are in front for Kyle to come up and knock him in.
All right, let's hear from Kyle Schwarber on why he is looking forward to this challenge.
I feel like I do have something to prove. You know, I want to go out there and, you know, I haven't played a full season, and I want to go out there and prove that I can do it, and you know, prove to myself some things. And so, you know, I'm really excited for this season, and I feel like it's going to be another fun one.
All right, so let's talk about center field. We talked about the leadoff spot. Dexter's gone. Now in the outfield, it's either Albert Almora, John Jay, or if they struggle, you move Heyward from his gold glove position in right over to center. Is it Almora's job to lose, or is it John Jay's, or do you split them up?
I think it's Almora's to lose. Right now in spring, he has 3 homers, 12 RBIs, and he's looking comfortable out there. You know he's going to be a great defender, so I'd go ahead and throw him in there. He's young, and let him gain his experience in the big leagues.
Yeah, he's a guy that has more pop, I think, than people realize.
Yeah, he's a bigger dude than you really see. he can hit the ball out of the park, all fields, and he's a gap-to-gap guy as well.
Yeah, he had 2 home runs last Sunday, and defensively we saw him make a catch the other day where he went up over the fence and made a catch. There we saw him, in the playoffs. He was magnificent defensively, and everyone's going to remember the big tag play when he tagged up from first on the Bryant fly ball in Game 7.
Yeah, he's an aggressive player. He wants to prove that he's big league ready, and giving him that shot right now, I think that'll speed up his process.
So if you're John Jay, you come in here on a 1-year deal, you would like to play as quickly as you can against the team that gave up on you, the Cardinals. Who would you start opening night? Would you start Almora against a righty? Would you go Jay, lefty, righty? What would you do?
I want to get my young guy in there and as much experience as possible.
So start him.
I'm going to throw Almora in there opening day.
Interesting. We'll see what Joe Madden does. Let's talk about something else from opening day. You've got John Lester, who the guy that's caught him more than anyone else in his career is David Ross. David Ross is on Dancing with the Stars. That means Wilson Contreras is going to be his personal catcher. How quickly can those two mesh?
I think they're going to be fine. Wilson has learned the game, has been around the game for a few years now, and he's been around David Ross last year. So I feel like he's picked up a lot of information from him. And especially with his pickoff moves, he's going to help those base runners think twice about leaving early.
Right. John doesn't want to throw over there, but Wilson, like David, has no hesitation about throwing behind runners or gunning out guys trying to steal.
Yeah, he's looking for the opportunity to throw guys out, and they always have to keep their mind on him.
You were a guy that, you may not have been Ricky Henderson, but you could run. You were a threat every time you got on base. When you see a guy like John Lester, who I don't care how much of a lead, he's not going to throw over to me. How much more concerned because that guy's behind the plate?
It's huge. I wasn't a big threat, but if they're going to give me a base, I'm going to take it. But now you always have to think in the back of your head that this guy's going to put it on the base for a bam-bam tag and you're going to be out. So you kind of have to pick and choose now.
Wilson also got opportunities the whole second half of the season. He played in the World Series. He had a double in Game 7. Now he comes in, though, and there's expectation on him to produce offensively as well as defensively. How much pressure on him?
There's definitely pressure on him, but I watched a game yesterday. He took a slider off of Santana from the Indians, a very quality pitcher, hit it out to left. Took a fastball up and away, hit it out to right. So I'm not worried about his bat. So he's going to be a cog in the lineup.
All right, now one huge question for the Cubs is their bullpen. They've added some new arms like Koji Uehara, Wade Davis, but Wade Davis struggled in spring training. So what's your take on where this bullpen is? Wade Davis is a quality arm. He was great in Kansas City, but he has not had a great spring. Do you have any level of concern about the Cubs' new closer?
The only concern I have is his location. He's erratic right now, but once he tunes that up, he'll be fine. He's got a lot of big outs in his career, and I'm not worried about him at all.
All right, so this is a guy who's now coming American League to National. You made that same adjustment as a hitter. Is it as big a deal or it's overrated?
I think it's overrated. Baseball's baseball. You have the videotape to learn about the hitters, learn about the pitchers. So now it's just going out there and executing your pitches as a pitcher and just seeing pitches as a hitter.
You look at a guy like Wade Davis, he's gotten the big outs in the World Series. He's coming to a team now with expectations of winning a World Series. It looks like the pressure should not be any problem for that guy.
No, I feel that he's set. The bullpen, if he messes up, you have Koji there, you have Strope there, you have Carl Edwards there. So I feel that either way, they're set in the bullpen-wise.
Okay, so they got a veteran guy in Uehara, 42 years old, still has really good stuff. Carl Edwards looks to be the guy that they're grooming to be their closer down the road. In fact, they brought him in to try and get big outs in Game 7, and he nearly closed it out. How much do you give Carl Edwards a chance to try and get some really big outs early in the season?
I think early in the season is the key. That's the time of year where you want to get in a rhythm as a pitcher. So giving him those early opportunities will help him out later in the season when they need big outs.
Do you look at him as that's your future closer right there?
As of right now, yes, I do.
Because Hector Rondon had a really good year. he was pitching pretty darn well, and then they make the trade for Chapman. And then he kind of slid to the back, and then he had the tricep problem, and he hasn't been great since that point. Didn't see much action in the postseason, yet he's got a big arm.
Yeah, you just got to get his confidence back. He needs to get out there, put some zeros on the board, and then that'll just be another guy to throw 95, 97 late in the game, and that's what this game has turned into, big arms.
All right, Joe Madden has a problem a lot of managers would love to have. Coming up, we'll project the starting lineup ahead of Sunday night's opener in St. Louis, and how will Javi Baez and Ben Zobrist coexist in baseball 2017. Plus, the Cubs hope that Jason Heyward's struggles are a thing of the past. We'll look at some of the hard work he put in this offseason.
To be in the Express, you gotta be able to ride. And I mean really ride.
Jack, wait.
Ma, I ain't no boy no more.
You don't know what's out there. It's dangerous.
This is something I have to do, Ma.
But the job only calls to a man who has what it takes.
You take this, and you go west as fast as you can.
Think we'll see him again, Ma?
I reckon.
How can you be so sure?
Because west is that way.
We dare you to ignore it. We dare you to categorize it. We dare you to rationalize it. The slingshot, insanely low, absurdly powerful. No doors, no roof, no regrets. Drive one at your Slingshot dealer. We dare you.
Get the Bob Roman Indy. Oh, now. To pay the rent. Get the Bob Roman Mitsubishi.
Ooh.
I scared him. How was that?
I like that.
Bob Roman.
The legends of tennis are coming to Chicago with the Power Share Series. John McEnroe, Andy Roddick, Jim Courier, and Mark Philippoussis compete in a unique one-night tournament. May 17th at UIC Pavilion. Timeless tennis mastery on full display with a twist. On the Power Share Series, these legends call their own lines. For tickets and VIP packages, go to PowerShareSeries.com or Ticketmaster.com and be part of the excitement May 17th at UIC Pavilion.
Tuesday night at 6:30 on CSN Plus. It's baseball's best rivalry. Jake Arrieta and the world champs take on Dexter Fowler and the Cards. Live stream the game on the NBC Sports app or at CSNChicago.com. Get ready for a battle in the Big Easy as your Bulls look for a win over the Pelicans. Bulls at Pelicans starting tonight at 4:30 on CSN with Bulls pregame live presented by Coors Light and streaming on the NBC Sports app.
Welcome back on our Cubs season preview show with my brand new partner. He's David DeJesus, the former Cub, longtime big leaguer. I'm David Kaplan. Joe Madden has what we like to call first world problems. He's got a jammed roster full of talent. We've kind of guesstimated what the opening day lineup could be. Obviously, Albert Elmore could get that spot in center. Yeah. But when you look at this lineup, what jumps out at you? There's a lot of veteran experience there.
Yeah, there's really not too much to do. I think this right here is going to be a winning lineup. You know, some days you're going to have to get Zobrist a day off. That's when Baez comes in. Schwarber will have some days off as well. You can put Zobrist out in left field as well. Baez will come back in. So that's where I see that Baez is going to get plenty of bats this year, and you don't have to worry about it.
You can also give this guy a day off or put Bryant into left or Bryant into right to give Heyward a day off.
Yeah.
And then Baez can give Russell a day off. Like, you've got a lot of flexibility here.
There's so many guys that play so many different positions. So it's good what it is right now, but you have so many ways you can handle it as well.
All right, let's set up what we think the batting order could be for Sunday night when they open up with the Cardinals. And this is probably most of the time against the righty.
Yeah.
You got to think Kyle Schwarber 99% of the time is going to be in the one hole.
Yeah.
Chris Bryant looks like he'll get that 2 spot again. And then you go to Anthony Rizzo in the 3 hole. When you got to start like that, like we talked about earlier, That's just monsters.
That's a murderer's row right there almost,
Right.
And you got to be on top of your game right away.
Okay, and then it sounds like during the playoffs we did it. We'll see the Cubs do it again. Ben Zobrist in the 4-hole. Who do you throw in the 5-hole? Probably Contreras, or do you go to Jason Heyward there? Do you go to Addison Russell, who's a 90-plus RBI guy?
I want Russell there. He's proven that he can drive runs in, and he is on the cusp of greatness.
Okay.
So I feel that that's a great spot for him.
All right, so then where do you put Heyward in the 6-hole? Do you put Contreras there?
I think you go Contreras there.
Okay.
At that point, I think Contreras has shown that he can drive the ball to every field. From there, you put Heyward.
You go Jason Heyward's going into the 7-hole. And then either John Jay or Albert Almora.
Albert Almora, yeah.
So
I think righty opening day, so we'll put the pitcher. Will Joe put the pitcher in the A spot?
That's another great question because he loves to do the unconventional.
Yeah.
But you like Almora there.
I like Almora there.
We were guessing maybe Jay because it's a righty and Carlos Martinez, but we can throw Almora there, and then the pitcher spot's going to go into number 9.
Yeah.
And then obviously your number 1 utility guy is Javi Baez, who would be a starter and a potential Gold Glover and an All-Star on almost any other team.
Yes. You know, he's an impact bat. And I feel that getting him in the lineup is going to be important, and Joe will find ways to do that.
Okay, so now let's go back, and you look at this, and what if you have a lefty on the mound? So you go back and you want to reset your batting order. You take out your iPad Pro like Joe does every morning. What do you do against a lefty?
As a lefty, are you starting Schwarber or not? If you're not starting him, I'm going to go with Zobrist leading off.
Okay, so we'll put Ben Zobrist in the 1-hole, Chris Bryant in the 2.
You're keeping those 2 there.
Okay, so you go Bryant, and then you go Anthony Rizzo.
Okay,
now who are you putting in the 4-hole with Zobrist up at the top?
Wow. I think you might have to go Addison Russell. Just push him up 1 spot.
Okay, so Addison Russell goes there. Who do you want in the 5-hole?
5-hole, we're going to go with Javi Baez.
Okay, so Javi Baez going to get the start against the left-hander.
Yes,
absolutely.
Against the lefty.
Okay, Contreras in the 6?
Contreras in 6, yes.
Okay.
And then we're going to go with lefty.
Heyward?
Well, is Heyward
Heyward's
playing?
Going to probably sit against the lefty.
So we're going to have to go with maybe Almora in 7.
Okay, we'll put Almora in the 7-hole. And
then we got, who is our last guy?
We'd have to put a utility guy. Somebody's going to have to start there.
Yeah.
That comes off the bench.
Whether bench guy.
Matt Caesar is still on this team, we don't know. Tommy LaStella could still be on this team. We don't know. And then obviously you're going to throw your pitcher right there into the 9-hole, and that spot's going to be wide open. We can throw John Jay in there for now.
For now. That looks great. I think that's what we're going to do.
All right, so those are all good problems to have. But what is the Cubs' doomsday scenario, or what scares everybody the most about this team? For me, it's if one of the big 3 arms, Lester, Arrieta, Hendricks, goes down, you've got some real troubles. You know, if you were to lose, obviously anybody loses Chris Bryant or Anthony Rizzo, that's a monster loss. Yeah. But you do have Baez can go to 3rd, Schwarber could move over to 1st. You have plug-and-play opportunities. For me, it's starting pitching.
Yeah. Bats-wise, I think we have plenty of those guys that we can cover up the wounds. But, you know, Rizzo and Bryant, those are our 2 big guys. But pitching-wise, the 1, 2, 3s, for any team that loses your 1, 2, or 3, it's going to be tough, and especially for the Cubs this year if they do that. Hopefully they don't have to worry about that.
And if you also look at their bullpen, you know, there we're showing Jake Arrieta, their bullpen, if Wade Davis was to either struggle or go down, you bring in Yui Hara, you bring in Hector Rondon, you got Pedro Strop, you've got Carl Edwards. So you've got answers. You do not have an answer in your system for one of the top 3 starters.
No, you have Eddie Butler, Mike Montgomery, but those aren't your 1s, your 2s, or your 3s. So we don't have to worry about that, and the guys will be okay and be healthy for the season.
But you do have trade chips if you have to make a deal.
You always have that in your back pocket.
All right, for the first time in 108 years, the Cubs are the defending champions. Coming up, we'll get David's keys to defending their crown in baseball 2017. And we'll tell you which Cub poised to have a breakout year. That and a whole lot more when we return on our season preview on In the Loop.
Shabana Creek RV in Atkinson, Illinois. We are the largest motorhome dealer north of Atlanta, Georgia. Like this 2008 Bounder 35E, the #1 selling floor plan in North America, sold new for $130,000, priced now at $79,995. Or like this 2007 Georgie Boy Pursuit 34-foot, 2 slide outs, sold new for almost $100,000, priced now at $49,995 and only $399 a month. Shabana Creek RV, Atkinson, Illinois.
This is Lynchburg, Tennessee. This is how many people were born here. This many are 5th generation. This is how many are named Hiawatha Kitty McGee. He keeps the town dry. They'd prefer it a little wet. This many are proud of what we make here. This is how many will go around bragging about it. This is our town. If you can't get here, just look for one of our postcards. We send them all over. They look like this.
A place where lazy days come with a splash of sunshine. Where dinner plans always include your best friend. And the little moments that make all the difference are shared in your own backyard. That's the beauty of Bellegarde. Bellegarde hardscapes make outside your kind of beautiful.
As the next system moves in, make sure your vehicle is prepared. Rain, mud, dirt, and sand. With the advanced technology of WeatherTech floor liners, your vehicle is protected against the elements. Laser-measured perfect protection covering front, back, and even up the sides. Order yours today at WeatherTech.com, call 1-800-CarMats, or visit our factory store in Bolingbrook. Stay one step ahead of the weather with WeatherTech.
What musical genre is invented when you blend Beethoven with Journey? This is Rocktopia, a unique live concert experience blending classical music, classic rock, and opera with original one-of-a-kind musical arrangements featuring artists such as Queen, Mozart, The Who, Beethoven, Pink Floyd, and more. Special guest violinist Mairead Nesbitt, formerly of Celtic Woman, Friday, April 7th, 8 p.m. at Rialto Theater. Get your tickets now at rocktopia.com.
According to Bovada.lv, a sports book on the internet, the Cubs and the Red Sox are favorites to win the World Series at plus 450. That's just over 4-1. I'm David Kaplan. He is David DeJesus, my brand new partner here in our Cubs pre- and post-game coverage throughout the season. This is our Cubs preview show. All right, there are a number of keys for this team. Let's take a look at your keys for the Chicago Cubs to repeat as world champions.
All right. Let's go over the keys. All right, the first key is going to be rotation health and depth. The top 4 returners are studs and dependable. All pitched at least 190 innings last season, not to mention a deep run to the playoffs. Monitoring their innings and pitch counts is going to be important for the Cubs staff. Newcomer Brett Anderson is going to be the 5th guy of the rotation. He's injury prone, but he's had a good, healthy spring training so far. So I expect him to have a bounce-back season. If he can do anything close to his 2015 season, where he had 31 starts and pitched to a 3.69 ERA, that would be a great addition to the staff. Mike Montgomery will be starting in the Cubs bullpen, and Eddie Butler will be in AAA. Both have had good springs this year and are a couple viable options to the rotation. And the second key will be the center field situation. Will the platoon of Albert Almora and John Jay work? You know, they're both plus defenders. Both have had good springs, but I feel that Albert Almora has put a step forward in the conversation there, and I expect him to take this job and run with it. And the third key will be a strong start for Jason Heyward. After a tough 2016 season, wouldn't it be great to see a 300 average on the board at the end of April and silence all the critics? That's what the Cubs and their fans are hoping for. But what happens if it doesn't go that way? Do you sit Jason and do you move one of the center fielders over to right field? Or do you put Ben Zobrist in right, Javi Baez at second? These are questions we're going to have to wait to see to get answered, but I can't wait for the season to start to see them answered.
All right, so when you mentioned the strong start for Heyward, You never had a year like he had a year ago where nothing went right. It was ground out 4-3 to second base like every time, and he came in with the weight of a $184 million contract. How quickly does he have to get off to a good start? Because if he wakes up after 2 days and he's 0 for 8, does everyone go, here we go again?
I mean, he's going to hear it from a lot of people if he starts that way. But I feel that he has the work ethic. He has the mental integrity to be able to withstand that. And I'm excited to see how he's changed his swing and to see if it's really going to work in the season when the real games start, not just in spring training.
Yeah, that pressure is going to be real quick if he strikes out with men on. Last year in the home opener, he came up with a big hit, and everyone thought, all right, here we go. And then it really started to become a problem. But he's never taken his offense out on defense.
That's unbelievable, because most guys will bring that with them. It's something that's in us that if we're not hitting, we'll just maybe just beat ourselves up about it. But he has never done that, not even one game, and that's why he's such a leader on this team, because the guys are always behind him through the tough times he's had, and he's always shown up for interviews, for just conversations with guys, and he's been a leader. He's one of the biggest leaders on the team.
All right, Chris Bryant won the MVP last season, but another guy who could add MVP to his resume sometime in the future is Addison Russell. Is this guy poised for a breakout year? Because last year was a great year. Now people are expecting even more.
Definitely. He has all the talents. He can make plays in the hole, has a special arm, and now he's driving the ball out of each and every field. So he's just a special player, and I'm expecting big things from him this season.
Yeah, he's been magnificent defensively. All right, before we get out of here, how many wins does this team have?
I'm saying 99, just as many home runs as I've hit in my career.
How about that? Todd Hollandsworth had 98,
Yeah,
so
sorry.
you got him by one.
Got him.
I'm going to go with the Cubs with 99 wins as well. I'm going to go right with him. Not going to get the 100, but they'll get the 99. Thank you so much for watching. This has been In the Loop Prime, our Cubs pregame preseason special. We'll see you next week.